So welcome everyone to our today's release keynote presentation. Today we have Marvin here. Hi Marvin.
Hi Daniel. Thanks. Marvin, Head of Academy at Synera.
And yeah, me, Daniel, one of the co-founder and co-CEOs of Synera, and we are more than thrilled to give you a glimpse of the new release we have worked over the last couple of months. So today it's all about our new release 2308 with the beautiful name Heroic Horus. And if you're curious about this name, we prepared a changelog. When you open the first time the new version, you get a whole explanation about this name and why we choose this for this really awesome release. We have a lot to do to present. So today we have over 50 new features and over 30 bug fixes in this release. But that's not all. This is really the first time we will announce a totally new product since the beginning of Synera. So Synera is there for almost 2.5 years now. And now today we will have a totally new product which will complement Synera in the best way. But yeah, I'm super thrilled to show you what we have done over the last couple of months and what we spent in the development. And yeah, I'm more than happy to show it to the world today. And all the features in Sun, they are under one umbrella. Today, it's really all about enterprises. So we want to make sure that you have all the tools, all the features you needed. And we got a lot of requests over the last weeks and months, and we listen carefully. So we make a giant step with this release in the direction of being enterprise ready to make sure that you can deploy your workflows, that you can reuse your workflows, that you can integrate this into your enterprise environment. And with this being said, we will have again, from these 50 features, selected 4 main topics we would love to talk today. So let's directly start with the biggest one. So I mentioned we will release today a new product. And as you know, we are on a mission to empower every engineer to code due to our visual programming language. And starting from today, we also empower now every engineer to develop their own methods and deploy them for all their coworkers with ease. So today, we will announce a new product with a beautiful name, Synera Run. Ooh, goosebumps, at least on my end. So let's continue. What is Synera Run? So Synera Run allows you to build, share, and reuse workflows within an organization. So it's as simple as this. You still build your workflows as you're familiar with it. So you define all your nodes, you make it in the right order, you define your inputs and your outputs. And then after you save it, you also click upload. And then the whole workflow get deployed to a web instance. And this web instance is accessible via any browser in your organization. And you can just share the link and give it to someone else in your organization. And they can reuse your knowledge, your automation, your workflow, what you have developed previous in Synera. To sum it up, it's really just these 3 steps. It's like building your workflow and automation, share it via the web, and let all your coworkers use this kind of technology in a safe environment in your infrastructure. We start with Synera Run in the web. That means you just need a browser to access the workflows. And the browser site you see here will dynamically create it based on the workflow you have set it up in Synera. So depending on what kind of inputs and outputs you defined, this workflow or this website will auto-generate it. And you can just click on deploy, and it's already there, and you can reuse it and share it with all the others in your company. And I think the best is to show it in action. So we prepared some demos for you to see how easy it is to integrate Synera Run in your existing workflows. Let's start with a very easy one, like a Hello World one, just to show you the whole beauty. So we will create a box here, just with 3 different variables. These are our sliders. We connect them like length, width, and height. And we will see we can change the sliders. You see the geometry updates directly in the viewer. And as a first evaluation, we just want to get the volume out of it. So what are the steps now to bring this into Synera Run? We have this new side panel on the left where you can open all the workflow properties. And then you set up the inputs, which gets these nice orange surroundings. And then you have to specify the output, in this case, the number for the volume. We will rename the number container to volume to make it more obvious for the end user later in the website, and then mark this as an output grip with these blue surrounding. Now we define the box which we want to visualize in the 3D viewer. We save the whole workflow, and then it's just one click. You go on File, Publish to Synera Run, this machine, and that's it. You will get immediately the URL back, and your whole workflow is already deployed in the web. You can use the viewer, you can see the preview here, you have all the input sliders. If you toggle the Autorun button, you see the immediate actions and the output on the right with the volume as an output control. So this was just the beginning. You can really create all the workflows you have in mind now for the run environment. And to show you another bestseller in our ecosystem, it's a topo reconstruction based with the convert to quad mesh and mesh to solid operation for the subdivision modeling. So what we are doing here, we grab this template from our template engine we presented last time. We just rename the input as a mesh. And normally we want to give the people the possibility to get an OBJ file and a step file. So you do not even need the export OBJ. You can just grab a mesh container as an output and a solid body as an output. And then it's really the same routine as I have shown you before with the box. So you open the workflow properties again, you give it a name just to make it easier for your end users. Then you define the inputs on the left, in this case, the mesh, and the solid body and the mesh on the right. You see the blue surrounding again. Then I will show you how it will look like. So this could be a model you would like to process with this algorithm. So this is an STL. You put it in the mesh container just to see what you will expect when you process this kind of geometry. And when I now toggle the visible nodes, you see this is a NURB geometry you would like to get out. And now we save it, and we want to deploy it again in Synera Run. So we click on it, and here we go. This time we have a nicely designed upload dialog, so you can select it from your hard drive, then it gets uploaded, it's directly computed. You see the preview of the subdivision modeling, and the two containers allow you to download it in any kind of file format you have already pre-installed and also licensed. We are always really curious to see what you will do with this kind of technology and what kind of workflows you bring in the Synera Run ecosystem. Here's a more sophisticated one with a battery nesting algorithm, but it's always the same. So you define your inputs and your outputs. This time it's already predefined. But here we are not publishing this in a local network. This time we use it in our global network, and we open up the firewall rules. So now everyone can access this kind of workflow. So you see, again, you have select commands, you have slider commands, you can change the input controls, you can toggle the Autorun and or press the run button, and you see the computation is then done on the server. Here's a new nesting result from the battery one. And as I mentioned, for this demo purpose, we open our firewall rules. So when you go now on run.synera.io, and maybe Marvin, you can put this also in the chat while I'm speaking, you can really access the same workflow I showed you 1 minute before, and you can reuse it in a web environment, even across the company network. So next, this is Synera Run, and we are really thrilled that we gave some of our power users an early access to this technology. And today we have Heinrich Schmidt from Arc Engineering, who will show us how he's already utilized this new technology in their daily work and how they make workflows powerful in this web environment. So Heinrich, the stage is yours.
Hi there. I'm Heinrich from Arc Engineering. I'm the consultant for all the Synera topics, and I'm presenting to you today the Synera Run with my little design to cost workflow. So let's jump right into it. So we start with a little purchase prompt. So which part are we calculating? How much parts we want to calculate? Then we grab the cut data as well as the metadata for the part from our PDM system. The metadata would include such things as material, the maximum wall thickness, and so on. And we needed some further calculation, and we jump over to the tooling cost. We received that from a third-party software. And then at this point, a little cross-promo for Facton. So they've been so nice to give us access to the API to calculate the production cost of a single part, which is pretty neat. And it works pretty good, I have to admit. And then we go on to the CO2 footprint, also another third party, receive our environmental cost for the parts. And in the end, we receive a cost summary of the whole part, which includes the production cost, tooling cost, the environmental cost. And now we get to the interesting part, and we want to publish the whole thing to the Synera Run. For that, we implement a little toggle at the start, so we could change the imports. Is it within the workflow, or are they feed it from outside? So like a run. So we activate that toggle, and then we publish the whole thing to Synera Run by just clicking File, Publish to Synera Run, and to this machine, and it's actually done. So we could jump over to the run. Which would look like this. On the left-hand side, we see the inputs we defined previously. It's the same systematic as in a classic workflow if you want to nest it. So you have to define inputs, outputs. It's 2 clicks. It's easy. And then to activate it or to run the run, we have to add the part number as well as the volume of parts we want to produce. Then the run running. And we see in the middle our part. It's a classic 3D viewer you used to know from the desktop application. And on the right-hand side, you see the costs we calculate within the workflow. And if we switch now the part, it's recalculating, and we receive yet another cost calculation and CO2 footprint. And that's actually already the run. Easily done, literally within less than 5 clicks. So I think it's pretty handy. It's easy to use, and I hope to use it in future quite more often. And that's it from my side. And thank you for watching. I was Henry from Arc Engineering, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
So cool. Thanks, Heinrich, for these insights. I mean, he just deployed a cost engineering workflow with seconds in the run environment. And what I heard from him is the beauty is that especially in cost engineering, you have a lot of people who would love to get access to the volumes from CAD geometries and all this stuff, but they normally not have access to CAD geometry or CAD tools. So with this, we can fill a gap here and can use Synera Run for utilize even cost engineering workflows to people who are normally not familiar with CAD operations. So Synera Run, the big question, when is it available? I mean, it's brand new and it will be available later this year to everyone. And we are opening our beta access program. So everyone who is already a customer at Synera can request the beta access today on portal.synera.io/Synera-run. So if you are so excited as I am, so definitely make your application today, hand it in on this form on request access, and then let's have a chat and we will give you access to this brand new technology. But this was just 1 out of 4, right, Marvin? So we have many other topics to cover. So I hand over to you for the next enterprise topic.
Thank you, Daniel. That is really hard to top, I would say. But let's see what else we got in the pan. So next feature is reuse library. And yeah, it is all about collaborative work. So all about the creation of workflows, sharing and reusing it for yourself, but also amongst colleagues. So we have prepared a little story. Let's hop right into it. And yeah, let's see what it has for us, what it offers for us. So user 1, let's start with user 1 and imagine it's me, MF. I'm an FEA expert. Let's imagine I have some workflows and repetitive tasks I always do, and I would, for example, does it run?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Okay, now I see it also running. For example, I need to check the element quality quite often. It's a workflow you always use. So why not storing this workflow in a library? Go to Tools, create a new library. So yeah, we can give it a reasonable name, this library. And we can also set an icon if you like for this purpose. Of course, I would choose a FEA icon. I can give a library description. And in the end here, I choose a file path, in this case, to a SharePoint, because I want to cooperate with other users. So final check if everything is good to go, and then we can create the library. So here I have my workflow, and then I save it, and I just save it in the library I have just created. I can give also the workflow a name, and you can see in the blue banner on top that it is saved in that library. So if I open a new project, a new tab here, that workflow is directly accessible through the radio menu. Okay, so now user 2. We have a second user, Daniel. DS is a CAD expert and at another department and has a similar repetitive task, checking a body. So this time Daniel wants to save this workflow as a node, so he defines inputs and outputs. And instead of creating a new library, Daniel chooses the direct way through a file and then create this new library. Gives the library a name. Here is the CAD library, and also chooses a path on our SharePoint, the CAD folder in that case. So a name is given to the workflow. It chooses that automatically from the workflow. We can save it. As you can see in the blue banner, again, it's saved. And similar as before, I go to another project, and also user 2, Daniel, has direct access to his CAD library and to the node he has just created out of that workflow. So back to user 1. I have a false geometry, but I can't now wait for Daniel to fix it for me as a CAD expert. So now I can use his expertise, and he saved that in the library. So I can just integrate this library to my ones that I had before. So now I choose the file path, and you see the cut library is next to the FEA library. I like that. So now when I go to the radio menu, I also have access to Daniel's expertise and can use his node he just created, and I can check the body for myself. Yeah, that's the total story. So we saw collaboration over the SharePoint, but yeah, in enterprises, it's not only the SharePoint where we can collaborate. So we have now the PLM integration for Teamcenter. Automation workflows or cooperative work means that we need to interact with these PLM systems, and we are super happy that we can introduce the Siemens Teamcenter integration. So at the end, it is only 2 nodes. Very easy. We pull from the Teamcenter and we push to the Teamcenter. And yeah, there's a little story behind. So let's check it out. Here you see the Teamcenter. Here's some file and asset created in the Siemens Teamcenter. And at first you define your item ID and you pull that item from Teamcenter. It's an NX file, a geometry file. So here we use our run_nx node. We have now imported that, but we also are able now to change the parameters. So that is done very quickly here. We change the parameters of the file, the geometry updates, and when that is finished, we can push it back again. So here we trigger that, push it back again, and then the updated file is back in the Teamcenter and ready to be used by other departments. Yes, that's the whole story. So it's about creating, sharing, and reusing in between colleagues, departments, also on the workflow level, but also on the enterprise level through the communication, in this case, with Siemens Teamcenter. All right, cool. Another, yes.
We have the last category for today, right?
the last category for today, and for that, yeah, we'll give back to you first, and let's see what else we have in the improvements.
Yes, so the last category is shared by Marvin and me. So it's our general improvements. So we have tons of smaller improvements done over the last weeks. And to give you a glimpse about some of them, we created some slides. First is we will introduce 5 new nodes in the category of time. So it means you will have access to a construct date and times, deconstruct them, create time steps from the current time, and also use it for formatting time. And 2 workflows we always hear from customers is, the first is I want to have a dynamic naming of, for example, files or directories. So you can use the construct date nodes to make exactly this. You have a formatter, you have a merge text, and at the end you get, for example, this directory title, and you can use it with the create directory nodes we presented last time. And another workflow where you could use these new nodes is to measure the time, like how performant is your current workflow. You have like a start and you have an end, and then you can measure the computation. And here at the end, it's, for example, this small hello world product, 5 seconds. So a lot of possibilities with these new nodes. Also have fun with the time nodes. Next one, we implemented for our expert users a new node called dynamic control. And it looks so simple because it has just one input, but I can promise you it's very powerful. So first of all, when you put it on the canvas, it says, okay, I need this dictionary, otherwise I can't compute. So it's yellow. But yeah, if you put one dictionary in, and here I put a select possibility. So I create our dictionary with our construct dictionary node and an array from list, and I put in option 1 and 2. And then you see that this select control is directly created on top of the dynamic controls node. So this gives you the power to really programmatically change controls, whether it's select or other things. So for example, if you put a slider in it, it's you can use the quick notation we normally use, or you can get a Boolean in it, and you see we have a toggle now on the dynamic controls, or even a typical text holder. So you can really stretch it here and make your dynamic controls possible with all the construct dictionaries and this new node. And you can use it for example, changing the boundaries of sliders or making them dynamic. So we saw a lot of requests in this field, all a little bit different. So we are really curious to see what you will end up with this new power. And here's another example where I get some list inputs from sliders with minimum and maximum, and I created these sliders also programmatically on the go. So very small but powerful new node. And then we did a facelift to our UI, Marvin, right?
Exactly. It has a totally new appearance. So yeah, it is in general more streamlined. It is more brighter. It has a cleaner design. But yeah, why did we do it? In the end, we give the workflow creator more space to work on the canvas and also a better focus. So on top, we see that the ribbon menu, as you knew before, is now collapsed. So we can expand it. That gives you a little bit more headroom. And the data containers are shifted towards the right side. So each category now, first was in the very beginning, but each category now has the corresponding data containers always on the right. For example, here, and then you, of course, you have the drop downs and you can access them. Yeah, that gives you a bit better overview. Then on the side, we have the control bar here. So the sidebar, it's also collapsed by default. And when you open a workflow, for example, this template about reporting, you can unfold the sidebar and use the functionalities such as setting the dedicated icon or yeah, any other descriptions you can add here to define your workflow. Okay. Then also you can see that the icon is directly moved to the workflow tab. It appears there. That's the little update on top. And on the right, that is also a very new feature. You see a news banner. And at the moment, we publish news regarding the marketplace. So whenever there's an update in the marketplace, you will be notified here in this news banner. Okay, then we have another new improvement regarding the viewer. You remember last time in Geeky Gaia we had already one. So Geeky Gaia we had I think there was viewer performance improvements up to 50 times faster regarding bodies or surface bodies to spin around in the viewer. That is because our customers challenge us more and more with more complex workflows and more complex assemblies and geometries. So here we have something more. So this time it is regarding FEA visuals and points. And we had very heavy benchmark data. So they appear to have an average frame rate from 1 frames per second. So in the very heavy data. And now we managed to perform, to improve that, to improve the performance up to 36 times with an average frame rate of 36. And so larger FE models and points or clouds of points can be visualized much better now. Then there's another, and that is about the tessellation or triangulation of objects. So again, it is about bodies. So before we had something like this on the left side of the green body here, you see the tessellation as it was before, so very fine. And on the right side, you see how the body will look in the viewer. And we managed to have less triangles, but still have the same appearance in the viewer. So that is generally better for computational time. And we managed to have up to 97% fewer primitives after this tessellation for these solid or surface bodies. So hopefully when you have something really heavy to display, to run, this gives you a little booster. Okay. Another very interesting tool, I like it a lot because, when you sketch and you think in processes as you usually do in low-code and in Synera, sometimes you need to go one step, you have to start one step earlier. So to sketch, for example, processes, but you can also use this tool to document a bit better in your workflow. So now we have integrated a whiteboard. And for this, let me show you also a little example. So this is how it could look like in the end. In a larger workflow, here we have a big workflow, and we see, for example, at the beginning, there we have a to-do list. For example, I want to document something for my colleague, or I have another idea for the process that is included in this particular node. Then I want to add some sticky notes here for my colleague to clean this up, or for myself, or also hard copy something to keep in there, so to use the graphics, but having that inside directly inside the workflow. See, okay, thank you. Okay, so let's see how it works. You can find that under utilities and canvas, and there's the whiteboard panel. It appears, and then you can click it, and there's some familiar features you might notice. So you can draw some boxes, then you can assign colors, set the opacity, things like you're used to. And for example, here we just quickly set up a little process, step 1, step 2. You might have another sub step here. And if you're done, you just click save. It gets in the whiteboard panel. Then first in the settings, you can fit the size to the actual process you have built up here. And you can copy that, like hard copy that as a picture. And you can also save that as a picture to your local drive. Okay. Of course, you can use that using the viewer panel and other spots in the workflow. But the interesting point here is that it is an open library. So when you go to excalidraw.com, there, if you want to have more features here, you can choose anything you like from that open library. For example, this little sketch here, I really like that to document something in my workflow. I copied that directly inside the whiteboard panel, click save, and it's available as the other process I drew before. Yeah, similar with anything else. So there are yeah, there are more libraries, so you can just go there and type something in, like I just want a simple sticky note. You add it and you use it as before. Okay, so I'm really curious how you're going to use it and how you're going to yeah, nice up your workflows with this tool. Okay, another very little note, but it has a huge impact if you build especially larger workflows. So while you develop it, the careful listener or watcher of that webinar has seen the little spoiler before in my presentation, but it's the trigger. So it's a very small note. And let's see how we did it before. So imagine you have a little more heavy operation, like the convert to quad mesh and the mesh to solid. So that might take some time. So if you want to adjust some parameters, of course you can pause and play also your workflow. What you usually do when you work in the workflow, you create the workflow, is that, for example, you disable a node, something like this. So I disable mesh to solid and I can change my parameters. That would be an option. I can also disable the cable, which is cool, but also very tiny. So not so easy to spot for maybe a colleague that you want to share the workflow with. But now you can just insert this trigger here. So that is how it looks like when it's closed. No data is flowing, so you can play around with the values of the sliders that convert to quad mesh. And when you're happy with the setting, you can open it and then the workflow runs through. Okay. So some smaller nodes we digged a bit deeper in. Now we have, of course, many other nodes, but no time here to go inside every node so deep. But there are definitely more features. Yeah, some of the nodes we have already presented also in depth, like the date and time features. Yeah, we have also some improvements that come later, but here something I want to point out is in the FEA sector. So we have responses. Now we have a better separation of the standard stress response and the maximum von Mises stress response node. So what we did here is that we changed the previous stress response to be named maximum von Mises. And yeah, since this was the only response you could get when evaluating an FEA model, and the new stress response node now features a new drop-down controls to really heavily customize the stress response before evaluating an FEA model. So you can you have all access now to all stress components, principal stress, shear, bending. Yeah. So not only that, but you can also make that available to be used in optimization for OptiStruct at the moment. Cool. Then the reaction force and reaction moment. It's also very interesting. For example, at beam structure models, you can now check reaction forces at the different places of the beams and optimize them, optimize the beam model regarding those specific reaction forces and moments. And yeah, another very interesting tool is the OAuth2 authentication node. So you can basically control or authenticate for all the web client nodes, especially like software as a service tools like Factrum, or even Spotify if you like. And of course, your IT department allows you to do that. Yes, that's interesting. And I would say, yeah, maybe little words to math. So there's some physical quantity data now available, and the convert unit last time, as a small recap, we presented the unit system with units available in Synera, and here, of course, we have also convert unit. And morph body surface would be something interesting, probably also for the CAD experts. All right. So similar with improvements, here there's so much, I just want to keep it short. I would say the most interesting improvements are the linear static and nonlinear static load steps. They are also now working with thermal loads and more advanced FEA options. And we have now the extrusion constraints for the solid topology variable. So if you want to do casting, die casting, then this is a very useful tool to set up in the optimization. All right, I would say I would keep it this way, and the other improvements are also accessible when you already have the software and you go on the release notes as usual. So you see a very good overview.
Yeah, to sum it up, this was the firework for the new release, 2308 Heroic Horus. So you saw the brand new product, Synera Run, the reuse functionality for reuse not only nodes, but also libraries across the different organizations and also inside of departments. You saw Team Center as the possibility to integrate this really into your PLM environment. And you can push and pull data. We also developed a record type in Team Center for Synera workflows. You can also store your workflows in the Team Center environment. So a lot of things in the area of enterprise readiness, and also the improvements in the general nodes, especially the viewer improvement. Yeah, you gave us a homework for the last 2 quarters, and we hopefully made it. So please check the new version and make sure that your also bigger models are now running smooth as expected. The biggest question again, when is it available? And yeah, the team and also the QA department around Mark did an awesome job. So I think this is the 4th time in a row where we are able to make this keynote and announce also the release today. So all the customers who have a license can already go to portal.synera.io, download a tab and get the newest version with all the things we presented today. And for the people who want to be a customer, there's also a trial. Go to synera.io on the top right, try it for free, and then you have 2 weeks access to this technology as well. As you know, this was just an update from the core system. We also have a quick update from the marketplace.
All right.
So, and in the marketplace, we introduced the token drawer now in the portal version. So when you go on the portal and then on the marketplace, you see that every add-in also shows, the token drawer, so that you are familiar, okay, how expensive is it to integrate this kind of technology in your environment. And as Marvin already mentioned in the UI, we created a new newsfeed because our partners doing a great job under the hood already and making so many improvements. And we said, okay, they need to have a stage to present the new stuff in the right manner. And therefore, we have a news banner directly integrated in the software where we will announce all the updated add-ins and new add-ins. And then I think we have some more updates on the marketplace, Marvin, right? Especially in the Run area.
Yes, you saw Run NX before already, the Team Center, Siemens Team Center integration, and or communication, more or less. But yeah, so we have this Run. We have this Run nodes not only for NX, we also have that for other CAD tools, and it looks all the time looks similar. So you just import the file, and then you have access to all the parameters of that file. So you're able to change everything, maybe add FEA or an optimization and design study probably, and then push it back. So you can do a lot of fancy stuff with that. And it's not only for NX, it's also for Solid Edge, for example. We have this also available for Inventor, for Creo. And yeah, then it's just a logical issue. Like there are also other CAD tools on the market. So for this purpose, we have created the node Run Any CAD. So you can basically run any CAD program you like and access it via script.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then we have 2 new add-ins in our marketplace. We'd like to give some announcement today. One is SimScale connector developed by Rafus. So this is the first add-in where you get access to computational fluid dynamics, CFD. So feel free to check it out, especially if you want to gain the power of compute power in the cloud, as SimScale is operating their open form technology in a cloud environment. And as you know, a lot of people using MATLAB in their engineering workflows. So we are super happy that ALE created a MATLAB connector similar to the script node. So you can just put it in, pick a math or pick a relative file path or file path as an input, and then you can specify your variables. And we will have a lot of upcoming add-ins. So at the moment, for example, RLE is working heavily on a new Pathfinder integration. So stay tuned within the next couple of weeks. We will see an EOS print integration. The guys from Additive Cuts will create some support structures. The ERPT guys will develop some new design kit stuff. And also the guys from CDS will come up with some really awesome technology in the molding area. So you will see in the next couple of weeks, we will see a lot of movement in the marketplace, and hopefully in the next release candidate and presentation, we will also have some deep dives here. Okay, that is the marketplace. And to sum it up, this was the new release keynote presentation, 2308 Heroic Horus, with Run, with a lot of marketplace updates, with the new timestamp nodes, Team Center integration, a lot of nodes improvement, the whiteboard feature too, especially in the early days when you start with Synera and you want to sketch your process first and then to remodel it. It's very powerful. And the reuse library, which allows you to spread the knowledge from Synera across different departments and reuse all the programmatical workflows you already created. So we hope you enjoyed the show today, and it was so much fun as we had here on stage. I see we have 3 minutes left for our time slot, and we have 2 questions. So maybe let me quickly open it. It was more 1 question and 1 congratulation here. So it's also nice to see this. So there was 1 question: could you give access to a workflow outside? So I assume in the internet. Yeah, you could do this, but yeah, be careful. And at the end, it's your computation power. But yeah, this is possible, as you saw it with the run.synera.io and the battery model. This is possible. And then, yeah, thanks to the other, it was not really a question. It was more a cheers, awesome release. So yeah, we also think this is an awesome release. So I'm happy to get your feedback on it. And we are really open to see what you guys will do with this new kind of functionality. Yeah, with this being said, I say thank you so much for joining today. Also, thank you so much, Marvin, for being today on the stage. Thank you also to all the developers and all the marketing guys and all the other stuff who was involved in this presentation and all the features. It's always, I'm always proud to show you all the stuff we have developed from the whole company. And yeah, the next release will probably by the end of the year. And with this being said, have a lot of fun with this new release.
We're excited.
All the best.
Thanks for attending.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.